Hey friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden. Today, you guys can tell by the title that we are doing the second Get On My Shelf here on the channel, which I have not done one of these in a very long time. I think the last one I did was like 4 months ago, probably, pretty early on in the Board Game Garden, and basically in these videos, I'm just going to tell you 10 games that I would really love to purchase and get on my shelf. So today we're going to be talking about the 10 games that I think I will probably try to get shortly after Christmas if we happen to get some Christmas money. These are going to be some games that I do want to add to the collection. So without further ado, if you guys want to see the 10 games that I most want to add to the collection, then just keep on watching and let's get into this video, shall we? Okay, so getting into the list, I do have my laptop here just to be able to see the game that I'm talking about and give you guys like the weight and some explanation. Most of these games I know quite a bit about just because I have been looking them up for a while and wanting them for a while, and specifically this one because of Mr. Tim Chewin. I want this one very, very bad, and I believe that my friendly local game store does have this one still in stock. So I'm hoping we can grab it after Christmas. It is a pretty big, hefty game, but that is Dwellings of Eldervale. I want this game so bad. I actually just recently played Luke Laurie's next game, which is Andromeda's Edge. I got the opportunity to play that with Tim and Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Meeple when we went to California, and I really enjoyed that one. And typically I don't enjoy very space games, but I really enjoyed just the mechanisms in that game and just how it played. There is some combat as well, which surprisingly I really enjoyed as well. So I think because I enjoyed Andromeda's Edge so much, and this one is very, very similar. I've been told that they play very similarly. I think Dwellings of Eldervale is slightly more simple, but I am very, very excited. It's actually a 3.24, which is not that heavy. It's a lot less heavy than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, this is one that I think I would enjoy the theme better than Andromeda's Edge, just because it's like fantasy and stuff, which I really enjoy, and there's like the elements and stuff, which is super cool. So yes, Dwellings of Eldervale is my number one on my wish list, and I'm very excited to hopefully get it, or just like play it. I really would just love to play it, but if not that, then own it. But yeah, that is number one. Next game is actually an expansion to a game that I really, really love. This is actually my number 3 game when we did our top 20, Concordia, but this is an expansion that makes it so you can play Concordia solo. This is Concordia Solitaria. I think that's how you say it. But yes, this just basically makes Concordia solo, and I, as a huge solo game lover, want to be able to play all of my favorite games solos. So yes, this one's pretty self-explanatory. I absolutely love Concordia. If you don't know what Concordia is, definitely go and look it up. It's pretty much just like it's a very Euro-y game where you have a little bit of, what is it called? Hand management. It's not deck building, it's hand management where you're using cards, you're actually purchasing cards as well, and whenever you have used all of the cards that you want, you have to use a specific card in order to get them all back. You're collecting resources in order to purchase the cards and go, not exploring, but you're putting down little houses in different parts of the map, and it is just such a fun game. Definitely not a game that you would expect that I would like, but I really, really love Concordia, and I would love to play it solo, which I've heard this solo expansion is really good. So that is number 2. That is Concordia Solitaria. I think that's how you say it. Moving into a roll and write, or a flip and write, that I have been wanting for so long. This is a flip and write for a game that I already have that I love, and that is the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. I've heard so many people say that they enjoy the Isle of Cats, but they almost enjoy the Explore and Draw even more. So I'm very, very excited to get my hands on this one. Basically, in the Isle of Cats, you are doing more tile placement, but in this one, you are like drawing the polyomino shapes instead of placing the polyomino tiles. And there's a lot of like similar mechanisms with like the different cards and stuff and getting the baskets, I believe. I'm not 100% sure how the Explore and Draw plays, but if it's anything similar to the Isle of Cats, which I absolutely love, I just want this one in the collection, and I always just love to add more roll and writes / flip and writes to the collection. So that is one that I definitely want. It's a smaller one, so it's definitely one that I can just easily add to the collection. But I believe the next one is also a small one, so let's get into that one. Moving into the next game, this is actually an expansion for a game that I absolutely love, and this is an expansion that everyone says makes the game just so much better, or like even better than it already is, and that is the Parks Nightfall expansion. This, I feel like a lot of people say that this one changes up the game quite a bit, whereas the newest expansion, which is Wildlife, doesn't really add too much. It just adds some more cards and like a small change to the game. So I think I'm opting to get this one first, and then if I really enjoy that, then I will get the Wildlife one as well. But I absolutely love Parks, both multiplayer as well as solo. I think with the multiplayer, I would only play it up to maybe 3 people. If we ever get 3 people, we hardly ever play with a player count of 3, but Francis and I really enjoy it 2-player, and I enjoy it solo, so I'm very excited to add the Nightfall expansion to Parks. I don't know exactly what it adds to Parks. I think it adds like these little tents that you can put out on the trail and do different things. Not 100% sure, but everyone just says it's so good, and like the packaging with like the night sky is just absolutely beautiful. So yes, that is next, Parks Nightfall. Moving into another roll and write. I feel like there's still a few more roll and writes here on the list. I do want to start adding more roll and writes to the collection. They're just my favorite. I love roll and writes so much. So the next game is actually one that, looking at the packaging, I wasn't really drawn to, but I actually watched Ruel Gaviola over on Twitch. He did a live stream on this roll and write and really made me interested in the game, and that is Super Skill Pinball. There are a few different versions of this. I have the 4K one, which I don't really know what 4K is. There's just a few different like pinball machine sheets that you can play. There looks like there's like a circus one and maybe like a space one and something about Elvis. I'm not 100% sure, but there are a few, like I said, a few different ones. There's a Star Trek or Star Wars one. I think it's Star Trek. There's a Christmas one, which I think would be really fun. But I think this one's like the most basic. Let me know if you know more about Super Skill Pinball. But also Jeff and Jamie from Frosted the Meeple have also said good things about this roll and write, so I'm excited to add that one to the collection. I feel like it's a roll and write that's not talked about as much. I don't know if it's like a new roll and write, but I'm excited to play that one. Basically, it is kind of making you feel like you're doing a pinball machine by rolling dice and then making your ball go to different spots by using the different dice numbers. It looks very fun. So that is my number 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5. We're halfway through Super Skill Pinball, whichever version I decide to get. So speaking of Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Meeple, this was actually their favorite game of 2022, and that is Familiar Tales. When they chatted about this one, when we were in California filming the video for Tim Chewin's channel, they really made me want this game. I think it is so adorable. I wanted it before they chatted about it, but they made me want it even more. Familiar Tales is a campaign game where you are working as characters to help this baby and follow this baby as she grows up to be, I believe, all the way up to a teenager. And it's just this beautiful story, and I would be very excited to play this. It does play solo up to 4 players, so I think it'd be fun for me to do this as like a campaign game solo. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think when you do it solo, you have to play as all of the characters, if I'm not mistaken, but yes, I'm very excited to hopefully get Familiar Tales in the future. It looks absolutely beautiful. It is a pretty big game, so there's only a few big games on this list, but yes, it's one that I really want eventually, but that is Familiar Tales. It just makes me smile. Moving into probably one of the games that I most want here on the list, because I have played this one already and I enjoyed it so much. Oh my goodness. This is Twilight Inscription. This is a pretty crunchy roll and write. If you guys do know me and you've watched my channel before, my favorite game of all time right now is Hadrian's Wall. That's another crunchy roll and write that I just, I love them so much. And Twilight Inscription has a lot of similarities to Hadrian's Wall, where you're using the dice, whatever the dice rolls are of different icons, and you're using that on one sheet, and just like everything kind of connects. Like you do something on one sheet and that would make you do something on another sheet, and then that would make you do something on another sheet, and it's just so much fun, just all of the connections that you're making throughout the game. There's some added like voting and stuff, which is really cool, and also some like variable player powers, and it was just so freaking fun. You can play it solo, so I'd love to try it out solo. It can play 1 to 8 players, which is pretty cool. Everything is simultaneous, so I can't say that word, simultaneous. Is that right? So yes, the more players you play with, it doesn't really change the amount of time. I guess like some people will take longer to think through things than others, but we played it at 4. It was a pretty long game, but that is, you know, expected, because this is the roll and write version of Twilight Imperium, which is an even longer game. So we did, I think, play this. It was our first time playing it. We did have to learn it, and I think it took us about 3 hours to play. So definitely if I played it solo, it would not take me that long. And also if we played with the same 4 people, it would, again, not take us that long either. So yes, this is one that I will probably get most likely first out of these ones. It is a little bit more expensive for a roll and write, but I think I'm okay with that. I think Hadrian's Wall was a little bit more expensive as well, but if I like this one as much as I do Hadrian's Wall, I'll get a ton of plays out of it, and I'm just so excited for this one. So that is Twilight Inscription. Moving into the next game, this is, I don't know when this, it came out in 2021. Okay, so it's not that old. But this game is one that a lot of people know of, and I really want it as another racing game in our collection. I think this is the first racing game that I do want to add to our collection, and that is Cubitos. This is one, I don't know why I say it so funny. I think I said it the exact same way the last time I talked about it in a video. I say Cubitos. But Cubitos is a racing push your luck game where you are buying dice and then you are rolling those die, and if you ever roll all of your die and all of them are blank, that means that you bust and you don't get all of the rewards that you have, you know, collected throughout the game or throughout that turn. And then, you know, you can purchase more dice in order to get different abilities. Each of the dice have different abilities. There's a bunch of different colors of die, and you are trying to race along this track and be the first one to get to the end. And it just is such a fun game. I have actually played this one as well, and it was a lot of fun. So it is definitely the first racing game that I want to add to our collection, and that is Cubitos. Next up is, you guessed it, another roll slash flip and write, and this one is a little bit more difficult to find. I've been trying to find this one, but it is a little bit harder to find, but that is Merchants of Magic. This is a Set-A-Watch tale. So I've heard of Set-A-Watch. I think it's like a really good solo game, but this is, I believe, in the same universe, and it is a roll and write. And I believe in this one, you are a merchant and you are selling and crafting different magical items. The roll and write sheet looks absolutely beautiful with all these different colors, and I just love the theme of it and the look of it, and just like thinking about like crafting magical items in order to sell them just sounds a lot of fun to me. So that is Merchants of Magic. It's been one on my wish list for a very long time. It's just very difficult to find. So that is my number, I believe 9. I think we have one more left to go, but yes, that is Merchants of Magic. And the last game that I do want to add to the collection, this is another pretty big one, but it is a polyomino game with a space theme, and I've heard a lot of good things about this one. The Brothers Murph just finished talking about this one. I believe it was in like the top 20 to 11 of Nick's top games, and that is Planet Unknown. This one looks really cool. From what I've seen, you are all trying to terraform a planet. There are a bunch of different planets that you can play with, but then there's also like the basic ones that you can all have. And you have this like Lazy Susan in the middle where you're turning it, and on your turn you can turn it to wherever you want so that you can take from a section of the Lazy Susan, but then everyone else has to kind of deal with where the Lazy Susan is. And then on other players' turns, you kind of have to deal with whatever is in front of you wherever they decide to turn it. So that's really cool. I don't really know how the polyominoes work, but it looks really awesome. I love tile placing games, especially polyomino tile placing games. So Planet Unknown is definitely one that maybe not necessarily I want in the collection as of yet, but I would love to try it and see if I would enjoy it and want it in the collection. So yes, that is Planet Unknown. Okay friends, so that is going to be everything for today's Get on My Shelf. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to get at least some of these games into the collection. There are a few big ones that I think I will have to save up for, but a few of the small ones and the expansions I would really love to add to the collection. Also, I'm sure Francis has a small little wish list as well, so we'll be adding some games to the collection. We're taking a little bit of break right now, but once we get some games played, maybe in like late January, early February, we can go and pick up some new games. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Also comment down below what games are currently on your wish list. Would love to know. Hit that subscribe button and join the garden. We'd love to have you. And yeah, I love you guys so, so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends.